Hi everyone, I wanted to show you how I made Adam from Beetlejuice. If you remember previously, I made Barbara. So for this one I wanted to make a head and shoulders little bust of Adam. Same scale as Barbara so that they can sit together on my shelf. So I've made a basic armature just out of foil as I always do, and then I covered that in a layer of Sculpey clay, and now what I'm doing is starting to sculpt the details. Because Adam has like pulled at his nose and stretched his face, he's got like a very exaggerated nose and his nostrils are quite long. So here what I'm doing is sculpting the nostril onto the side of the head. I do have to alter this a couple of times because I squished it a couple of times working on it. But as you can see, I'm making like an elongated, exaggerated nostril. And I need to do the same on the other side as well. Trying to get the sides as symmetrical as possible. That is something I do need to work on a little bit more. I found it quite tricky on this one. But I just kept having a look at one side, look at the other side, and I got it fairly close. I wouldn't say it's perfectly symmetrical, but it's pretty close. So I'm just sculpting on those large nostrils and putting the hole in for the nostril. I found it quite awkward sculpting the face on the base that I'd made. So here I just took the sculpture off the base and then I glued it back on after I'd fired it in the oven. I also didn't realise I'd missed a chunk of the back, so then I just stopped a second just to fill that in. I'm not worrying too much about the body shape because it's going to be covered in a shirt, but obviously I just want to get the foil covered so at least it's all one level shape and as smooth as possible. And as you can see, the armature is just made out of rolled up aluminium foil that is stuck together with hot glue. And I just made sure I covered the base as well, just so I could get a nice even finish without any gaps and without any foil showing. And then after this you'll see I switch back to working on the detail of the face once I've got this all smoothed down. So then I went back to the face and the neck and I just made sure I shaped it a bit more. I should have done the neck a little bit longer, but never mind. I just covered it up with the shirt in the end anyway. So here I'm just working on the nostrils and just flaring them out a little bit. And just trying to get them as even and symmetrical as possible. Then the next thing I sculpted was the eye sockets. And again, these have been stretched and elongated because of how Adam has pulled his face. And I just used a little sausage of clay and just went round where the eye socket edge is, just to create those stretched eyelids, and then went round blending it all in. I found it was like quite a sort of pronounced line just underneath the lower lid, so I didn't blend the lower lid in as much as the upper lid, and then just made sure I created that elongated shape. And I also realised the nose wasn't long enough, so I do add some more clay to the tip of the nose just to lengthen it a little bit. I hadn't quite got the nose tapering off into a small enough point. So I just blended that in and then smoothed it all down. And then the next thing I worked on was the fingers, because what Adam did is he put his hand in his mouth, pushed his fingers through the back and then stretched his nose, and you can see the impression of his fingers through the back of his head. So here I'm just sculpting those little fingers and adding them on. And I'll worry about like creases in the skin and wrinkles and that sort of thing after. I'm just getting the basic shape of the fingers in first. I did realise after a bit that the first finger I put on was a bit too long, because that's supposed to be like the little finger. So you'll see me change that in a bit. Just meant I had to chop a little bit off, because I realised the thumb was down the bottom when I looked at pictures of the sculpt. And like I looked online for pictures of the original sculpt and also for pictures of masks and things, just to give me an idea of size and everything and what the face looked like around the back. And then here I'm just blending the edges in, just making sure those fingers are well adhered to the head, because I don't want them to fall off. And then here what I'm doing is I'm using little snakes of clay to create the wrinkles in the skin, because the skin is quite stretched over the fingers, and the way it's like pulls and wrinkles up when it's stretched, it's got these like lines and ridges. So I just sculpted those by making little snakes of clay that tapered off at the end. Place them in position, and then you'll see later on what I do is I taper either end and blend it in, and then blend in the sides of each of these little snakes of clay. And what I did is I carried on blending those in, and then I made the shirt and baked it in the oven for half an hour. Then I worked on painting the sculpture, which I did off camera because literally I'm just covering it in acrylic paint, and I wanted to make the video a little bit shorter. What I did is I painted a skin tone on the head, and then used pink in the creases to make the creases show up, pink on the lips and black on the eyes. And the thing that took the longest was painting the shirt. And that's it. That's how I made Adam. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.